Good morning, everybody. I think we'd all agree that the improvements in long-distance communication over the years have really been great. And one of the big ones happened on this date in 1866, July 27, when the first permanent transatlantic communication cable was laid connecting Ireland with Newfoundland. This is the first telegraph key. These were more or less in use in the 1840s, so people wondered, could we lay a telegraph cable through the water? Well, the British and the French laid a cable across the English Channel in the 1850s, and this really was cool. But what made it possible was the discovery of the sap of the gutta percha tree, which is a kind of rubber tree. And the sap of a rubber tree is known as latex, and they found that this hardened and was quite waterproof. And here's a picture of a necklace made out of sap from the gutta percha tree. So this was what those early cables were covered with to keep the water out. Now this is Cyrus Field. He was an American businessman, investor, entrepreneur, and he had the idea of setting up a company that would lay a transatlantic cable. He thought there was some money to be made, so he got some investors together, and they all thought that this route connecting Newfoundland on the left with Ireland on the right was realistic. So they decided to do that. They got some cables made, they got some ships lined up, and they tried to lay the cable there. And here's a picture of the cable being spooled out from behind one of those ships. But they had all kinds of problems, particularly with the cables breaking, either because of storms or the cables weren't strong enough. But they did get one laid in the mid-1850s, and Queen Victoria, pictured here, sent a message on that cable to our president, President Buchanan. That message was 98 words, and it took 16 hours to send. Seems like a long time, doesn't it, by today's standards? And it worked for a while, but then it broke. But Mr. Field was not discouraged. He got a new company together. They used this ship, the Great Eastern, which was the largest ocean-going ship at the time. They ran a new cable that was stronger and better. And our event on this date, July 27, 1866, it worked. And here's its map, connecting Ireland on the right with Newfoundland on the left. And it was a huge hit. Now this is in Heart's Content, Newfoundland. This is where the cable ended when it came to Newfoundland. That's a cool little building. And every once in a while the reenactment will happen. Here you can see some reenactors with the cable, and notice how bulky that cable is. Copper wire covered by gutta percha, covered by hemp. And that's how those early cables were made. And this is the memorial at Valentia Island in the western part of Ireland. So if you go to Ireland on vacation and you're in the western part, you may want to check this out. Now it wasn't long after this, cables got better and better, and the Brits laid this cable connecting various parts of their empire. And it became clear that these cables needed to be secure. And people started sending messages in code over these cables. And this is a copy of the telegram known as the Zimmermann telegram from Arthur Zimmermann, a German, to the Mexicans during World War I, when Mexico joined Germany and fight the United States. The Brits leaked this to us, and we got involved in World War I. This is the first transatlantic telephone cable in the 1950s. So that was cool. In the 1950s, you could talk to your friend on the phone far, far away. In the 1980s, the big development was fiber optic, pictured here. Fiber optics can carry a lot more data than copper or metal cable, and today 99% of data traffic across the ocean goes on fiber optic cable, and here's a map of the current cable setup today. So the next time you talk to your friend far, far away, think that that message is probably going on an undersea cable, the first of which was laid in 1866.